What's going on, people? It's a new video from me, Private Hire Mike. Apologies about the angle and the lighting. I'm in my car at the moment. I wanted to quickly talk about this news that we've heard about Uber offering black taxis the opportunity to join their app. Now, this came out last week, and there's been a bit of controversy behind it. A lot of black taxi drivers have said, no way, there is no way in hell that we are going to join Uber. And if you remember, Uber have been the black taxis in London's rivals since they began, really, because they came in, they disrupted the industry, they essentially charged a lot less than what than what black taxis were charging, and there was a lot of controversy behind it, and essentially black taxi drivers started to hate Uber, which I guess is understandable. You know, you've done a lot of time studying the knowledge. Some drivers have done up to 5 years, and all of a sudden, you know, some drivers even longer, and all of a sudden Uber just comes along and starts, you know, essentially allowing anyone who's got a PCO license to drive, really. And, you know, it doesn't take much to get a PCO license. It's just a glorified minicab license. You know, if you know what minicab drivers back in the day, well, it's pretty much the same. It's just that it's a bit more glorified. And there are other apps that offer black taxis which are free now, and I believe Bolt are also in the process of doing it, and now Uber. So Uber has now realized that, you know, the industry's changed a little bit after COVID, after the whole change with, you know, how it now pays its drivers, obviously the VAT and stuff, and cost of living. And they probably want to jump on board as well, because the more options they have, the more things they offer, the better. If you've noticed, Uber now have this thing where they'll say, hey, use the train, use the bus, because they basically want to be with you at every part of the journey. Now, they never used to do all of that, and that's because people just used to always just use Uber, you know, not just Uber, but they wouldn't really consider it because you know, I think it was just more affordable back then for people to use it. But I think now, from cost of living and people working from home, people maybe use more public transport or walk, so less people are using it. So Uber are like, okay, we want to be part of the journey still, so we'll say, hey, use our app to maybe check when the trains are running or getting on a train, etc. Right? Now, here comes the main point of the video, right? And this is why I believe that Uber want to have black taxis on board, and that's because the black taxis have had a re-emergence, right? They've had a new golden period of where they're doing very well, okay? I've spoken to a few and they've said this, and that's because people, well, number one, it's because people are starting to go to London again because it's the end of COVID, but also, and this is what I think, is that Uber drivers don't go into central London. Number one, because of congestion charge. Number two, because some don't have electric cars, a lot of them don't, and that's the only way to get in there for free without paying the congestion. And then thirdly, the prices that you get in central London aren't really worth it in terms of the mileage rate and how long it takes, especially with the traffic. And Uber's algorithm doesn't really know the difference between a country mile and a city mile, right? So sometimes you could do 2 miles in London, maybe get £7 or £8, but it could take you half an hour in bad traffic, maybe more. So Uber now realised that they're probably losing a lot of business in central London. So they're like, well, how can we get around this? Black taxis seem to be doing pretty well. How about we offer our app to black taxi drivers, okay? The people that we used to compete with, right? And that's essentially what I believe Uber have done. They don't want to miss out on the London portion. They know that people are using black taxis a lot more now, so hey, let's get black taxi drivers on board. Now, I think they've offered this for the first 3 to 6 months, either 3 months or 6 months. You can correct me in the comments. So basically, drivers who are black taxi drivers can sign up to Uber for that period without having any commission, and then after that, the rates will obviously be set by the rates that they get from TfL, and Uber will have to adhere to that. It's not going to be Uber's rates, it's going to be the normal rates set out by TfL. Now, this is what I believe. I believe that Uber have lost a lot of drivers working in central London and are now basically grovelling back to the black taxis, being like, hey, sign up to our app, you know. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Uber offered their app to black taxi drivers when they first began in London, but they refused. And I think that the majority of the black taxi drivers will refuse again. There'll probably be maybe 10 to 15% that will join, but I think for the most part they will refuse because they have a union and they've been very much against Uber and have done a lot to work against them. So why would they join up now? They're doing a good trade. They don't really need to sign up with Uber, but we'll see. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section, guys. Sorry for the bad lighting and the quality of this video, but I did want to get this idea out. Drive safe, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you're not a family member here at the channel, consider subscribing. Drop me a like because it helps me on the algorithm. And like I say, get involved with the discussion, and I'll see you in another video.